Hi, I'm Kieran and I'm running to be your Student Union President. Over the last 18 months, I've been your Vice President Community, and in that time, I've achieved some great things. I've had academic transcripts show your volunteering and extracurricular activities. I've created a new sense-based drug policy for both the union and now the university. I created the first Societies Ball and organised two of the most successful Freshers Weeks we've ever had. Being in this role already, I've had the experience and the exposure to the university and the wider higher education landscape. I have the understanding, the network and the experience to make sure that everything I do is in your best interest. And my manifesto is built on real problems raised to me by students throughout the last 18 months and throughout my time as a student here at Heriot-Watt. And I want to change that. Students face so many societal pressures these days. They're under pressure to have perfect finances, to have the perfect social life, and to make sure that everything they do extracurricular looks good on their CV. And all that means that attendance to lectures isn't as easy as possible. With all these extra responsibilities that they're taking on, lecture capture needs to be a thing. We need to make sure that students can engage with their lectures outside of those designated class times to go through the material again and again and make sure that no student is left behind. And by using lecture capture to enhance the learning and teaching experience here at Heriot-Watt, we can make sure that our graduates are well prepared for the field of work they go into. If we flip the classrooms and let students kind of engage with their academic curricular materials outside and come in and use what is currently lecture time as a tutorial space and ask those questions, they'll develop a true understanding. Universities are no longer the fountain of knowledge. We should be a place where we teach students how to use that knowledge in a real practical sense. Over the last 8 weeks, I've been the acting Student Union President, so I've got a real sense of what the role entails. The role, as President, you sit on so many committees and extra boards, which means that your time to engage with students is limited. So I think making sure that the President makes time to go out and engage with students, bring back their feedback and actually act on it is really, really important, but also probably the hardest part of the job. Employability opportunities in creative fields are really limited, so we need to make sure that our SBC graduates are fit for their field, which means that we need to make sure that they have access to placements which are free of charge, and the hidden course costs kind of issue at SBC is also massive. When they go onto their placements, they're expected to pay for rent, they're expected to pay for travel, and finding a placement in Scotland is really, really hard. Hidden course costs in creative fields is also a big problem because they're having to pay for materials, they're having to pay for access to labs and to other kind of materials. And also the engagement with the local community is really hard. SBC is based in Galashiels, which is in the Scottish borders, and it isn't the university experience that some people are expecting when they come to Heriot-Watt. So we need to make sure that we engage with the community and make sure there's enough opportunities to keep those SBC students satisfied. Ideally, these strikes would be avoidable, and I work my hardest with the university to make sure we can mitigate any kind of industrial action. Personally, I think that lecturers deserve to be treated well. They deserve to have good working conditions and good rates of pay. The pension scheme, they're currently giving 10% of their income to a pension scheme that is involuntary. So I think we need to kind of be very wary about kind of how we treat our lecturers. As long as there's no impact on the student experience, material isn't taught, isn't assessed on, and any lectures that are missed are backed up with either lecture capture or extra materials put online, I think the union should be in support of the strikes. If I was elected president, I'd work to make sure the postgraduate taught class rep system was as strong as the undergraduate one, making sure they're trained to the same standard, and we alter the system to make sure it fits with their schedules. I'd also work with the PGR rep and the PGR rep system to make sure that issues from different institutes come in and are fed in, and that feedback is acted upon as swiftly as possible. I can't pretend to have an understanding of the postgraduate experience myself, but by tapping into the systems we should already have in place, I can make sure that the postgraduate experience, both taught and research, can be improved as best as possible.